I think we got this. Excellent. Okay,
Good.
good. We are live and we're
that.
broadcasting, and I'm excited to have you here, Drake. And we're going to talk about mobile. Now we're on a bandwidth where our faces may be a little funny here, but you're joining the class live. I got you to meet the class. I don't have releases for people, so we're not going to show them, but we'll talk to the class about mobile for small business, what people need to know, and then we'll get some questions answered too, and I'll bring up some as well. So Drake, I'm going to hand it over to you to just do a very brief introduction of you and tell people what you work with, and you've been kind of an advisor all along in this course on mobile for me. Go ahead.
Hi, folks. My name is Drake Ledoux, and I'm the CEO of BrandX Mobile. And BrandX Mobile is a mobile-first design, marketing, and strategy firm. Really what that means is that when we help our clients, the first digital or electronic channel that we gravitate towards for design and delivery of their content or message is mobile. So that's what we do. We're a big mobile house. We work in the rest of the world because we have to, but we like mobile. We have several different tools to help our clients. They range from smart check-in process to restaurant ordering systems, text messaging, mobile site builders, website, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what we do. Anyway, go ahead, Martin. You have a question.
Let's see if you got that. Good. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, sir. I can hear you. Did you hear me?
Sure did. We did.
Awesome.
Excellent. We're going to start with the first thing is talk about what is the minimum someone needs to know about mobile for a small or micro business. Now, many of my audience are on very, that's 4 very tight budgets. So, how do they find out if they're mobile? What does it mean to be mobile? And then we can maybe go, why is it important? There are a lot of rumors that Google's going to slap your hand if you aren't mobile friendly enough. So let's start in that area, because again, I have people where the budget could not be tighter than you can imagine. So it's the opposite spectrum of some of the people you work with. You take care of everyone.
Okay.
So over to you on that.
All right. So there's really there's 3 pieces to mobile. 3 different types of mobile experiences. One is, you've probably heard this, is a responsive website. And that's pretty much your website that when it is viewed on a small screen, it will manipulate or rearrange or resize all its buttons and images to fit a mobile screen, however big or small that screen is. That is the basics. We always recommend that is a minimum today. You really need to have that for so many different reasons. Primarily, your audience, your consumer, they are mobile. The numbers are quickly reaching full saturation when how people or how your audience connects with you, which is right now it's pretty much mobile. They use their desktop, but mobile for the first time in the past, I think it was like last month, surpassed general usage, sort of like what we use on a daily basis to connect or research or view, etc., by almost 56%. It's actually 6% higher now than desktop. As a quick little funny note, in 2012, somebody predicted that desktops and laptops would go away in 2018. I scoffed at that prediction. I may have scoffed too soon. So there is a day coming when desktop and laptops will go away, and we will be completely a mobile tool set that is small, versatile, flexible, and movable. So anyway, with that, then there's the second version, which is something everybody's heard of, which is mobile apps. Mobile apps are everybody thinks having an app is great, and in some instances it is. Everybody thinks that if they build an app, they're going to be the next Angry Birds. But there's some really rude awakening with apps. There was a new survey that just came out of the top 20 types of apps that we use as consumers. And you can check your own phone to validate this. But really, the apps that we use pretty much are Gmail, our social apps, our messaging apps. Then it comes down to audio or music apps. Then the next thing would be video apps. And then the next thing would be game apps. So as you start to sort of get a feel and a view of this chart as it goes down, you're starting to recognize that a brand app or your business app really would not rate very high in a user's preferred app usage model. As a matter of fact, it turns out that for companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Kroger, whatever your preferred brand is that you connect with on a regular basis, you churn, which means you get rid of that app every 30 days. And most of the time, those apps are only opened up once. I mean, to the tune of almost like 87%. It's unfortunate because they're very expensive. And truthfully, they work really well, and if they're designed well. But unfortunately, most apps are designed by what we call weekend developers, sort of like the weekend mechanic. They get online, they get a tool set that enables them to build an app, but there's lots of security holes in that. And one of the most recent, very public hacks by China was a security hole in a flashlight application that pretty much almost everybody on the planet had. So a couple of months ago, just so you know, your phone was hacked. Nothing bad really came of it. Most of the time, hackers are just doing this for fun and seeing if they could actually beat the system. But there are quite a few people out there trying to hurt you. So anyway, when it comes down to it, apps, for the most part, need to, although they're great for certain instances, but you need to have an app for Apple, for Android, for BlackBerry, for Microsoft, etc. And every time they change their operating system, you need to update that app. So it can become very costly and expensive. And then the third option you have is pretty much where we work in, which is mobile web. What we do is we build smart experiences based on what you want as a business to happen and what most likely your audience wants to have happen when they engage with you or when they connect with you. They're very flexible. They're very cost effective. They're very easy to manage. And they're very easy to move around. So this way, you can have multiple campaigns running with these without having to change your website, without having to change a bunch of other things. And they work really well. And they're actually called now, you may or may not have heard this, but they're actually called hybrid apps. And the reason why they're called hybrid apps is because we can make mobile web pretty much do almost about 98% what an application can do without the cost of having to maintain a separate application for each one. So those are really the three options you have. What we can tell you about Google is, yes, Google is constantly changing the rules. We stay up on it pretty well. There's a new speed and search algorithm coming out. It's already started hitting. It's called AMP, I believe, and we're working on it as we speak. Which really now what Google does when somebody searches for you, the first thing they look at is, do they have a responsive site? Number one. If they don't, you get a negative mark, and you may not come up in the top search engines. The next thing they say is, okay, so is this optimized well? Are there buttons big enough? Is it descriptive enough, etc.? And if they don't match, you get whacked again. The next thing that it looks at is the page that we're landing on, sort of like a mobile web page versus a web page, is it the same matching language or the same roughly the same content as what's on the web versus what's on the mobile? And the reason why they do this is they don't want people being fooled. So if you're looking for something like with us, anybody can try this. You can look for Wow Browse or look for like threading in Greensboro or threading in Durham, and you'll come up with the Google search, and they're usually in the top 3, a couple of times in the top 10, mainly because they have a great mobile tool. And when you click on their locations or their website through Google Plus's display and business display, it's relevant. What happens is that we have corresponding mobile web pages for their locations, because we want to display certain information in a mobile environment versus displaying what we display on the web, because we work differently on a mobile device than we do on a desktop. And we've recognized that, and that's what's great about a mobile website, is that you can actually build those sites very quickly to match how people work in a mobile environment. Where with responsive, that takes a lot of work. So that's it, Martin.
I want to do a little bit. So one responsive.
Yeah.
And the thing to understand for me with responsive is that in responsive, if you've got a smartphone and you have to spread your fingers to see the document, that's the first evidence that it's a fail on responsive.
Correct. That means that you do not have a responsive style sheet telling it how to manipulate the containers based on a screen size.
Yep. And then the second potential fail on it is, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up on the screen, is Google's mobile test. And I'll bring that up. Give me 1 second. I'll bring it up on the screen. Now I see I have Google mobile test. 1 second. And then I'm going to bring this, I'm going to share my screen here. And there we go. So stop. And so it's mobile friendly test by Google. And that you can just Google mobile friendly test by Google. Can you see that now?
Yes.
Clicking on it.
Yep. Why don't you type?
And then
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You want me to type something in?
Type in wowbrowse.me. Hopefully it all works well.
BROWS.
.me. Mm-hmm. And
I didn't put the URL in correctly.
HTTPS now. Oh, and folks, and I think Mark's going to ask me about this, but we want to talk a little bit about secure web addresses, secure domains.
So what we have now is wowbrowse.me, and yes, we'll get to secure domains next.
No.
And it is analyzing it because it's so massively big.
No, actually, what it's doing is making sure that we're conforming to the way they want us to work. Now, nobody's perfect. I've done the test on all our sites. Depending on how Google's motion for the day, sometimes we come out great, sometimes we have a couple errors. But the great thing about this test is it tells you where your errors are in most cases. But my suspicion is this is going to come back that we are mobile friendly and it's happy with us.
Now, I want to just explain to many people on this. Okay, great.
Okay, now wait. Now, Martin, I want to show you something. Okay.
Yeah.
In the next tab, in one of your other tabs, type in wowbrowse.me in one of your other tabs. And I want to show the difference between a website that is responsive. And I'm going to show you how this all works. And you have to excuse me for a second. I have to yell at my CTO.
Okay. Okay, great. So this looks different than the mobile version, right?
Massively. Now, is there any way you can show the two screens side by side?
Not too easy. This thing's not very friendly with bandwidth, but you get right now, even that gives a good idea, doesn't it?
No, that does. Okay, so you see, okay, so take a look at how this is delivering the experience. and look at the website real fast, and look at the difference in content layout and information. Where the web, we have a lot of stuff going on, okay? Because we have a big screen, and we're hoping, or we're expecting, that we've built a smart navigation system, and people have the ability to navigate. Now, when we go back to mobile, if you don't mind, Martin, go back to mobile. If you see, it's very different. And here's the reason why. Is because we know through analytics, and by the way, we'll talk, if we have a moment, we should talk about analytics. Okay, we know what people are looking for when they land on his page here. Okay, they want locations, they want to know what services, and they want to shop. Okay, that's what they want to do. So we don't bother them with a lot of, maybe I'll click on them, I don't know if it works.
No, it won't here.
Oh well. Anyway, so this is, you want to cater to what your client expects to do inside the mobile environment. Okay, the mobile site. Now the great thing here is that between you and your audience, or you and your client, you actually have a mutual desired outcome for every instance that somebody comes there. What you have to figure out is what that mutual desired outcome is. And when you do, you have great numbers. And I can tell you that last Monday, okay, now this company sees about 90,000 to 120,000 people through their doors every year. They are a threading studio. They're a very low price point beauty service. About $8 to $10 per event, per session. He has 6 locations on the East Coast. So he sees, I mean, for 120,000 people, that's a lot. But for the first time in the 5 years we've been working with him, last month, mobile surpassed his desktop by a lot. It wasn't even close. And last Monday, we saw something to the tune of over 500 page views on his mobile. We were ecstatic, and the week was just a stellar week, and we didn't do anything special. I wish I could say that we did something special happen, but what it really tells us is that everybody's going mobile, okay, and we really have to focus, and if we want to have a successful future with our audience and with our business, with this mobile space, we have to pay attention to it. We can no longer just let responsive drive what it does, because that's responsive, unfortunately, doesn't do that outcome thing. That outcome thing is so important. It's key to success in the mobile environment.
Here's what I want to talk about. I want to finish one more thing on this Google Webmaster Tool test, the mobile-friendly test. And I just want to tell you, if it fails, for most people in my realm, it's not a user-friendly interface. For you, it is, but for most people, it does not make sense to them. So this is where, to me, if it fails, they need to talk to their web person to get them to help them if they don't know exactly what to do. But
I would caution speaking to your web designer. Unless you're, and I don't mean to hurt their business, but here's the truth: web designers are really stuck in the desktop realm. They think, and that's why they always reply with, "Oh, it's responsive. It's responsive." Responsive isn't cutting it, and Google will even tell you responsive's not cutting. You need to speak to somebody that has experience in the mobile space. Please just take my email and send me messages because to give you an idea how uninformed the entire it's funny, the business side of our world is in regards to how important mobile is. I wrote up 2 stories on LinkedIn. One was about QR codes and the abuse of them, and I highlighted some very big companies, one being CBS, one being Fox, on how poorly they understand and get this realm. Now, you would think organizations the size of CBS and Fox could get it right? Well, less than a week later, CBS went and did it again. And then a week after that, guess what they did? They did it again. They blew it. So don't expect your web designer to understand how mobile works. They will not. It's a behavioral realm that takes time to understand what your audience wants to do through smart analyzation. So anyway.
Okay, the next conversation I want to add to is, of course, we talked about apps, and I go move cautiously. I can't tell you how many people on the road I would meet, and they go, "Well, we're getting an app soon," and I'm ready to go. Well, if you actually get people to download and use it, I'll buy you lunch at the fanciest place in town, because there's a lot of fails coming out of it, because you're asking someone to get their phone, download the app, then make sure it's active, then load the app before they use it, find the app and then load it, and then every time something updates, it better be maintained or it's going to be broken, and the list goes on and on. So it's got to be something so valuable to them personally beyond the pitch of your service, they'd want it. And they're more apt to either, like you said, go to something responsive or what you called mobile web hybrids.
Hybrid app.
Or even use text. Some people would rather text the little specials that come to them over having to use an app.
Well, the challenge you have, and be careful with that right now, you and I have had conversations in the past about commercial texting. Commercial texting is, and this is really simple, so everybody understands this, if you are texting any form of a commercial correspondence from your business to your audience, that is a commercial text. Now, that is illegal. That's highly illegal. And by the way, very shortly, we've already seen this starting to happen, your carriers are going to suspend you or fine you or charge you a lot more for something you can't be done. The FCC is already, the FCC just woke up in a big time and is looking to find Google and 1,000 other people. You need a commercial texting package to communicate any form of promotional items or business correspondence with somebody that is a potential client or a client. And you need to have a very specific opt-in language to make yourself legal. All the POS systems, Stripe and whatever, all those systems that are texting right now are there's a giant tidal wave coming their way that will crush some of them, because they're going to get fined and suspended by the FCC because they're not properly opting in. And the proof in this interesting fact is that Verizon was doing something with something called iBeacon, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And what that is it talks to me as I go by a store, okay? And they didn't have my opt-in to talk to me as I walk by the store. So within a couple of months, they recognized, and the FCC knocked on their door and said, "Hey, you can't do that." So, and now they send me opt-in. And by the way, I hate Verizon, so I didn't opt in. But don't just send text messages from your messaging system to.
So I want to talk about that a minute. So you know how you have texting and text messages, right? What he's saying is it better be extra careful that they've chosen to get it and they want it. And you follow the right rules, because it's worse than email. It's costing money to go over the line and costing resources, different even from email. So it's almost a different, more finable area to do texting. And that's where you make sure the customer truly wants the text, right? Yes. Right?
You have them opt in. It's really simple.
They opt in properly and they know how to opt out.
Right. And you never have a problem with it after that. It's very important. But just so you know, I had the wrong language once, and I had put it out on the web. And within less than 24 hours of displaying the wrong language on the web, we were audited by the FCC. This is not a joke. And they can shut you down. They can literally turn your business right off. They don't hold any. They don't care. They'll be happy to do it. So it's unfortunate because they really don't understand how the space works. They've made some really stupid rules.
We have a question. Hang tight.
Is Greg talking about texting a sale at XYZ.
Yes.
place.
So you know how you see the number?
And you do a block distribution of the text to 100 different people.
Yeah, so the idea is, have you ever seen get updates, text this, and you opt in to be able to get our updates? 4130 ever and such and such. Then you'll get updates on our sales. That's texting. Go ahead.
Right. It's called a short code and a keyword. The short code is usually, our short code is 59769. And then we could attach keywords to that, as many keywords to that short code as we want. And we'll tell people like text Drake, my name, to 59769, and you'll get my business card. Okay, but by me saying that, even now, I have to say, by the way, text message and data rates may apply. Text stop to stop, help to help. Press Y to confirm. So, but that language has to be there. It's god awful stupid because
Say that language once more, a little bit slower.
it is okay. So the language that has to be displayed not only in print. Okay, so when you ask somebody to opt into your SMS or texting communication, what you have to do is you have to display this message in print. Message and data rates may apply. Text stop to stop, help to help, and then some sort of confirmation language, like reply with the letter Y. Okay, with us, we use reply with C's, CEASE, because it's very clear. There's no you can't sue me for saying, yeah, I didn't know what cease meant. So, and then what happens is once they do that, they're opted into that number forever until they decide to leave. And then you never have to send it again. You don't have to update it again. There's no rules like there is with email, having to update your policies, et cetera, et cetera. With this, it's done and it's over with. And they have now opted into that keyword and that shortcut.
What are businesses that tend to succeed well with the texting? I know, yeah, just I'll let you answer that.
Sure. Texting can be very lucrative. And it can work really well for you. It works really well for days that are slow with our retail businesses. When they're slow, I get a phone call and they go, hey, we're slow. Can we send out a sale, a time-sensitive sale right now? And I said, sure. So we build a quick little mobile landing page, one of those mobile pages. We attach it to the keyword and shortcode, and then we send it out. We send it out to their audience. And they have usually a very good response rate. I mean, texting, the reality with texting and numbers, you'll see a lot of people say, oh, 90% and XYZ. Here's the reality. You'll see about out of your overall texting membership, okay, the people that sign in, you'll see probably about a 10 to 15% response rate, which is incredible. Okay, right there. Now, or sorry, open rate. Okay, so you see 10 to 15%, maybe even 20% open rate right away within the first 3 minutes. After the first 3 minutes, it starts to die off and it goes away. People respond to text very quickly. And then the cool thing is that the people that do respond, they are 90% more likely to contact you that day, either to buy something or ask you a question. So having a way for them to go from the text to a way that they can communicate is incredibly important because they're making a decision that day. So that's how texting works and works well. Now, the sort of downfall of this is that texting for the most part is not really cheap. It's not as cheap as email. Email still wins out as the best way to communicate, but texting is a very, 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 very close second. It's even higher than social on communicating and getting your sale or your message or whatever it is you want to promote out in a quick, fast way and get a quick, fast response rate.
Okay, let's see if that made sense or any follow-ups. Does that make sense? Not yes? Okay. Any other questions? So I'll move on. But texting, you see the text this and you sign up, make sure it's authorized. Now, I saw something in a town, it said, in emergency, call this or text this number. Do they need to have an opt-in on that too for just a moment? No, because that's a
911, and any now here's the cool thing. You do want, if there's an option in your city, town, or your school or wherever. And there is an option for a sort of an alert system, like how the weather alerts us via text when there's bad weather. If there's some sort of system that's available, I would tell you to be a part of that.
Opt in.
Because the information that they're sending you to is important and relevant, and it's valuable. And then in many cases, it saved lives because people were able to get out of harm's way. So
Well,
it's a great way to communicate.
the big thing with that is if someone can't afford a smartphone, they probably at least have a flip phone with texting or something like that, or a scaled down system with a limited plan. So like small town to have.
There's no charge for 911 alert messages, Amber Alerts and everything. There's no charge to you, nor is there really a charge on the other side. It's a government sponsored. I'm sorry, it costs us something somewhere, but for the most part, it's not something that has a direct effect to your bottom line or the people sending it out for the most part.
You know, my friend in Japan got a tsunami alert when the tsunami hit, or some secondary tsunami that went out, and he was, you know, he got an alert on his phone telling that was occurring. So that's texting. Does that make sense? You know, I don't know that would apply to those. I'm not, for yours, I don't know. I think email would be better. You can move a little slower with your business.
What type of business? Let me ask you a question. What type of business is it?
Well, it's a wellness business, and she keeps updates on how people can really be proactive on their health. And so she doesn't, you don't necessarily have like a special that goes on, you know, in this hour or something.
Well, here's the interesting thing, and this is just a quick little idea for you. When we're talking about mobile is so dimensional and so vast, you can't really sort of just say it may or may not work. Here's what does work. If we're going to use text messaging to communicate with something like a wellness audience, okay, what'll work? Message alerts about pollen and jogging and heat, things like that. You know, where you can say, hey, listen, this afternoon between 2 and 4. It's probably not a great idea to go out running because it's the worst height of the day for pollen and humidity, and it could cause issues. Now, you may not see a direct sale, but if you're smart on how you use that tool, use that communication to drive to the next level. Okay, remember, desired outcomes, right? So if we send the message and say, hey, the weather is not good for you this afternoon, but click here for more details or whatever the call to action is. And then there we say, but we have an in-home wellness system. So you see how you can start to match and tag that stuff together and have it work for you. So don't think just because. The best way to think about mobile is that it is incredibly layered. So whatever your message you're putting out there, think about how you may be able to connect it to other services and other pieces that revolve around your business. So this way you can turn a profit or it can turn a sale. It works really well. We see it happen every day. So anyway, there's an idea. That's what I would do if I were you.
Next topic that's very relevant to people now is HTTP and HTTPS, because that's becoming more important, and that's not as mobile, but you're paying attention to this, so I want to include it.
Well, it is.
Go ahead.
Because, okay, last year, and we told all our clients this, Google said, we recommend that you have an HTTPS, a secure, or what they call a secure server license, or a secure server certificate on your server, which says to the digital machine that, hey, these guys are secure, they are real, they're not spam, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there's multiple levels of this and multiple depths of this. And the more expensive license you buy, the more it appeals to the bots that are searching your digital. But when Google made the announcement that they were going to recommend, we pretty much turned around to our clients and said, everybody's going to HTTPS right now, because if they're recommending in no time, it's going to be mandatory. Now, it's not really a mandatory item, but if you want to come up in search engines and you don't want to get that ugly, hey, this is potentially a scary site, you may want to leave message. You want to have an HTTPS certificate properly installed on your system. Now, the same thing is happening mobile. We just made the decision that once we saw that even our mobile sites, everybody is HTTPS. They all have secure licenses. And if you get a chance, and you may get a chance to scan or see one of our mobile environments, you'll see a big green dot at the top. That's a security log, proving that it's secure. Now, you won't find it with Coke. You won't find it with Pepsi. You won't find it with Cola. You won't find it with Kroger. The list goes on. And it's amazing. What this does is leave security holes. And it invites the bad hacker to come in and leave little tiny cookies and little bad things that can cause bigger issues in the long run. And that's part of what a secure server license, an SSL certificate, does for you. It helps you do that. It proves that you've done at least the minimum to protect you and the people. Yeah, bingo, there you go. There's one. That's a improperly installed HTTPS license, SSL. That can be fixed if somebody want to help, we can help them do that.
Now, what I did, let me just